Hello, Lindsay Milner here, silverandtraining.com. How's work? Are you in need of some Monday motivation? A couple of things cropped up and I want to just talk about motivation in general today. First of all, there's what used to be my favourite quote, and it's Zig Ziglar. And when people complain to him that motivation doesn't last, he used to retort, well, neither does bathing. That's why we do it every day. And I used to think this was A, quite funny, but B, also really relevant, really true, because you're motivated to do something and you have that, yay, burst of enthusiasm, I must get on with this. And then the enthusiasm kind of, leaks away as things get a bit difficult, or you don't quite succeed at first, or you fall out of the habit and you don't quite manage to do what you said you'd do as often as you said you would. So I get that motivation does need to be renewed on a daily basis, but then I started to get a bit sort of, well, hang on, this doesn't tell me how to do it, and surely that's the most important thing, is how to maintain and renew that motivation on a daily basis. And after a while I started to realise that it's not lack of motivation that's the problem, it's lack of self-discipline. It's bad habits. We've fallen into bad habits and we need to work on getting new, better ones that better serve what we want to achieve. And then today, when I was kind of scrolling through Twitter looking for Monday motivation, I came across this one particular quote, and it is actually a couple of big hitters. The quote is from Tim Ferriss, but sharing it is Adam Grant. So I want to just pick up on these. So first of all, Tim Ferriss says that when you feel unproductive, it doesn't mean you're lazy. It's often a sign that you haven't found what makes the project interesting to you or meaningful to others. Well, I do think that there's a lot of truth in that you perhaps haven't found what makes it interesting. But I think it's more that you haven't found the way to build it as a habit. Adam Grant has quoted this, and he says the key to productivity isn't habits or hacks, it's motivation. Well, I'm sorry, but I absolutely disagree with him there. It is habits. It absolutely 100% is habits, because your motivation is sustained by your habits. He then goes on to say, when you find your work exciting, you're naturally drawn into starting it. Well, maybe he is, because, he's one of these ultra successful entrepreneur, businessman type people. And for some of us normal people, that's not how our brains work. Our brains take the line of least resistance. So if we've fallen into bad habits, it's really hard to get started. I battled with this for such a long time. And it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, oh, it's me, I'm useless, I am lazy, I'm unmotivated, why am I not motivated? And you do start to feel, you can feel quite bad about yourself just through thinking that I really want to do these, why haven't I got on to do it? So yeah, I absolutely want to fall out with him over that. I know he's a big author, and I have to confess I've not really read any of his stuff, so I don't know in general if I go with his ethos or not, but certainly I think he's missed the mark on this. It is 100% about habits. He goes on to say, when it has a real impact on those around you, you become driven to persist until you finish it. Well, I think he's nearer the mark there, because when you start to see a little bit of success, that does indeed motivate you to continue. And that's why I always advocate, start small, start with an achievable goal, start with a small win. Another one that crops up quite often is this, eat that frog, and I've seen that a couple of times just recently as well, is, get the most difficult task out of the way first. Again, I get that that will work 100% for some people, but for others, me included, that might mean that I don't get anything at all done that day. Because if I've got to do the most difficult thing first, and I've got to get started to get that most difficult thing out of the way first, I will procrastinate and just not get it started. And I'm sure I'm not alone in this. There are other people out there who feel so overwhelmed by the biggest task that they've got to do that they just won't start. So again, to kind of fall out with Adam Grant over, it's not productivity hacks and habits, I have found what some people might think is a productivity hack, and it is called Focusmate.com. It is the most genius, brilliant website where you just sign up to do a session of co-working across the internet with somebody who may be anywhere in the world. My Focusmate co-worker this morning was in Spain. So he was on the same time frame as me. He was on the same time zone as me. Maybe an hour or two's difference, I think, with Europe. I'm not sure. But, we're matched up by this app, Focusmate.com, which pairs you with someone, and you then just spend a session, 50 minutes. You tell him at the beginning what you're going to be working on. Your partner tells you what they're working on. You work for 50 minutes or, maybe 49, allowing for the brief discussion you just had. And then at the end, you catch up and you report how did you actually do. Well, this works like a charm for me because it gets me started. I book a session for 8 a.m. and there you go. I've got to turn up at 8 a.m. The line of least resistance is, I'm booked, so I've got to be there. I've got to be at my desk to get on with it. And sometimes I don't know quite what I'm going to be working on at that point, but then I have to come up with something so that I can tell him or her, so that I can immediately say, this is what I'm going to be working on in the next 50 minutes. And hey presto, once I've started, my brain's line of least resistance is keep working. So when the 50-minute session is over, time for another quick cup of coffee, and then carry on. And I've broken that problem of getting started. If you find it difficult to get started, if you've got a particular big task at work that you've been procrastinating on, I know obviously if you're expected to be in work, then you've got the boss expecting you to be there when your working day starts, so you maybe haven't got quite the issue of getting started that I have. But you might have a particular project that you need to start on, a big project, and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and daunted and you don't get on with it. So Focusmate can really help you too. It used to be a free tool, but as with many of these things, it does need to pay for itself. So there is a small subscription if you want to book more than 3 sessions a week. It's $5 a month. I mean, $5, it works out to about £3.25 in British sterling. So it's hardly anything at all. Give it a try. You can do 3 sessions a week free of charge. So give it a try free of charge and see what you think. If it works for you, if it's something that's a really good tool for you, then it is well worth the £3.25 a month. I can not recommend it highly enough. That's today's Monday motivation. I'm sorry I've rabbited on for quite a lot longer than I intended to. But, these things are something that just really rankles with me. These quotes saying, if you're not motivated, it's because you haven't found the right thing. I totally disagree. It just isn't as simple as that. So that's today's Monday motivation. I'm Lindsay Milner, sylvantraining.com. Subscribe if you want more videos like this, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye!